Hey Aquarius, Aquarius rising, welcome to your 2025 horoscope and cosmic energy reading for the year ahead. Just bear in mind that you are a unique being with a unique chart. You were born at a certain time for a certain reason, and this horoscope will not apply to every single Aquarian or Aquarian dominant, okay? If you want to learn more about your chart in depth, book an astrology reading. This is just a general energy overview. So let's kick off with all the Piscean energy that's going off in 2025 because it is major. And if you do have any Pisces energy in your chart, and if you also want to learn more about the eclipses, definitely check out the Pisces horoscope that I posted because you can definitely get a lot from that as well. So your second house and eighth house axis is going to be a major theme for 2025. The second house for you rules over your self-worth, your self-values, what you value in life, material resources, finances. And the eighth house rules over shared finances and resources, what you own with someone else. It's also taking relationships to the next level in terms of, combining resources together when it comes to intimacy. This is also a very spiritual area of life when you look at it from an esoteric lens. This is where we get into the magic, the alchemy, when we get into spiritual transformation. So these two areas of life, the second house and the eighth house, are going to be huge for you this year. We're kicking off the first 4 months of 2025 with so much activity, especially in your second house, and then the eclipses will also impact this axis. So this is the area of life, the two areas of life that you're going to feel a lot of energy around, a lot of activity. There's going to be a lot of back and forth, a lot of changes, perhaps a lot of growth, a lot of cleansing and clearing away, a lot of transformation. But that's where your focus is going to be, okay? Now we're going to kick off January the 11th with the nodes moving into Pisces and Virgo. So the North node will be in your second house and the South node will be in your eighth house. So you're going to be clearing away any karma or karmic ties or anything from the past regarding the eighth house. And this could be a time where there's a lot of spiritual healing as well, because like I said, the eighth house can also be interpreted in a very spiritual lens. So a lot of almost like leaving like an old life behind. Like that's what I get from the South node being in the eighth house. And the focus where the growth is, where your higher self wants you to expand in, is the second house. So this is reassessing and re-evaluating and reviewing how you feel about yourself, your self-worth, how you feel about material resources, abundance, prosperity, finances. And this all manifests by how you feel about yourself and your values. So that's going to go through a lot of reviewing, a lot of reanalyzing and re-strategizing, because often when you're working with self-worth, there's a lot of coaching yourself involved. You got to get to a point where you can have certain conversations with yourself and kind of coach yourself out of feeling low and motivate yourself and give yourself the confidence boost. And that is re-strategizing, pouring into yourself. And in this area of life where the nodes, the North node especially is going to impact, and the North node is the area, the energy we're moving forward in, there's going to be a lot of growth here as well. Now, there's going to be growing pains until you get into the growth, because we have the eclipses in the second house, but then we're also going to have Venus and Mercury going retrograde in March until April in this area of life. So there can be a period during March and April where there is a lot of slowing down, and there can be some frustration here because you want to, of course, move forward in this area of life. It's the new year. You're ready to go. But there's certain things that are kind of pulling you back. And think of it as your higher self or the universe pulling you back so you could go inwards, tap into how you're feeling, what you're thinking, going over how you feel about yourself particularly, and also coaching yourself out of like any frustration or tension regarding the second house, because this can be a reflection of the material side of life, and reevaluating, reflecting, reviewing, and re-strategizing. Okay, that is what this retrograde requires of you. If you try to go forward without going inwards first, there may be some situations that occur that make you go back to step one. Okay, this is a time of really going inwards because there's something that needs to be navigated through. And then when we get out of this retrograde in April, you'll be seeing the gradual movement, the pace picking up day by day when you get out of this retrograde, and things will start to move forward as well. You're going to be in a much more better mindset. You're going to be much more motivated. You're going to feel much more confidence, and you're going to be able to move forward and be like the magnet you want to be to all that your heart desires. But first, you need to get in touch with your self-worth and your values. And this may also mean getting in touch with your creativity. I mean, Venus and Mercury in the second house, this is a very creative energy as well, using your creativity, using what you enjoy, using your mind to create and to put energy out that gives you back as well. So that's going to be major for you this year, the second house. There's a lot about growth, a lot about abundance and prosperity. And there's like a karmic element to it because of the nodes. And to me, karma is not good or bad. It's just energy. And here with the North Node in the second house, this is what the higher self wants you to develop forward, further in, to excel in, to expand in. So that is going to be major. Because we're also going to have like a new moon on February the 27th in your second house. The eclipses during March and especially in the month of September, we're going to have 2 eclipses that will impact your second and 8th house axis. So you can definitely expect some change during those periods, because eclipses come in pairs and then they have like an aftermath effect until the next eclipse. So journaling, writing down how you're feeling about yourself, how you're feeling about abundance, the material world, how you feel about what you own, your values. Keeping a journal would be great for you. Now, on January the 29th, there's going to be a new moon in your sign at 9 degrees. So this is going to be in Aquarius, meaning Pluto is also in Aquarius. Yes, there's quite a gap, but nonetheless, this is a very beautiful new moon. I really like it. If you've watched your January forecast, you may have heard me say that I'm really loving this new moon, planting your seeds, working with your creativity, working with your gifts and abilities. It's going to be a very abundant time, and many of you, especially those that have any planets in Aquarius close to 9 degrees or exact, will feel a positive shift and change occur. Now let's get into some changes, because we're going to have Neptune and Saturn, Uranus and Jupiter all change signs in the year of 2025. Now, they're going to be temporary because of retrogrades, which will then make them move back into the sign they kicked off 2025 with. But nonetheless, this is a sneak peek, and we are moving forward. So Neptune and Saturn will both be moving out of your second house into your third house. So what's interesting about this is that the energy of the second house still will continue. But now you're going to see you like taking the lessons and the discipline and the hard work and commitment of Saturn, applying it and integrating it, and then watching the fruits of your labor grow in a way. You'll see that. And with Neptune and Saturn in your third house, now there's going to be a focus of really getting your feet on the ground, and your mental energy can definitely feel a little tense, especially when Saturn is in the third house. But the amount of discipline it gives you and the amount of just like work ethic it also gives you can work in your favor. It just depends on, are you going to fall into the Neptune energy or the Saturn energy? But often Saturn will overpower Neptune. And the third house rules over your mental energy. It rules over communication, travel as well. If you're working on a project, especially that requires a lot of words, whether that's, you know, written or verbal, or if there's like a project that's very technical, or you're working on something that requires a lot of your mental energy, Saturn is great for that because it can really help you to kind of dissect everything, and it gives you a lot of focus as well. So it's actually quite great for that, you know. It's not that bad being in the third house. Yes, it can impact the mind and you know, do what Saturn does, such as give you a bit of a tough time, and it can be a stressful time. But what we're doing here is getting rid of any fantasies or any illusions, especially regarding your environment, or even like regarding the people that you meet in your day-to-day life, or even when it comes to how you think, how you work with your mental energy, how you work with the throat chakra, the crown chakra. It's a lot of wisdom here. Both with Neptune and Saturn, there can be a lot of gems dropped from this transit. So you'll see a bit of a sneak peek into that. Great for going over the details. Great for that, especially when Saturn, we're looking at just Saturn, it's great for that. So you'll feel a sneak peek into that. It may have been a very stressful time with Saturn and Neptune in your second house, but now they're moving forward, and it'll be much more lighter. Although Saturn and Neptune in a conjunction, I guess that could, let's just put it this way, I guess that will impact other people way more strongly than it will for you. Now, this, of course, depends on your chart, but if I'm looking at it from just the third house, it won't be as intense as it would be if it was in any other area of life. But definitely it's going to impact the crown chakra, the mind, for sure. Now let's take a look at Uranus moving out of the fourth house and into the fifth house. This is exciting. This is super, super exciting because, listen, Uranus being in your fourth house may have been very disruptive. Things may have not been working out the way you wanted them or expected them, because there's been a lot of shakeups, a lot of surprises perhaps. Now, if you're very Aquarian dominated, you may have enjoyed the change, and you, even though you are a fixed sign, you may have been able to kind of like adapt and go with the flow. But now it's time to have fun, and the creativity at your disposal is incredible. This can bring a lot of excitement. So much excitement. This is a time where you're going to want to be really spontaneous. Just be careful of not being a devil? I was not meant to, listen, it's a bit late at night. I was not meant to say devil. I was meant to say, be careful of not wanting to be too much of a daredevil, okay? Because you're, I might have to cut that out. Uranus is not afraid of taking like risks, and like it's very spontaneous, and sometimes, you know, you may have heard of it, rebel without a cause, and that's the energy you can come with, especially when it's in the 5th house. The 5th house is the area of life that rules over leisure. So, you know, even when it comes to like gambling, or when it comes to just taking risks and doing something that, you know, you probably should think twice about, just be very conscious and very cautious and careful of that. Uranus in the 5th house can also bring a lot of excitement when it comes to romance and relationships. Yes, you have Pluto in your sign, opposite your 7th house, but nonetheless, Uranus here can bring a lot of excitement. You may want to, you know, date outside of what your usual type is. You may just want to have some fun and, yeah, just try new things. An exciting transit, Uranus in the 5th house. It's going to be in Gemini. So, yeah, going with the flow. It's an air sign. It's going to really be good for you. Now let's take a look at Jupiter moving out of your 5th house into your 6th house. So Jupiter in your 5th house should have brought you a lot of excitement and fun, a lot of creativity, perhaps some exciting romantic situations. Hopefully that was fun. But now Jupiter is moving into the 6th house. Now the 6th house and Jupiter really don't go together because they're just so opposite in nature. The 6th house is about your daily routine, your day-to-day habits, health, wellness, work. Jupiter is all about optimism, and it's about excitement and travel and adventure. So what it can actually do for the positive is bring you a lot of optimism and excitement when it comes to researching and learning about either something regarding your work, or even when it comes to like health and wellness. That is something that may be of a great interest. And Jupiter is, from its higher expression, its wisdom as well. So you may gain a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom through learning about different health concepts. Perhaps it's like holistic health, or when it comes to like wellness, you may enjoy doing like yoga or doing things that you usually wouldn't do. But there's this excitement, this optimism when it comes to your health, when it comes to even like your work and your daily life and routine. It might just add some excitement. Sometimes Jupiter can exaggerate things. So if you're dealing with something right now, it can kind of enhance it or kind of increase it. That's what I have felt in personal experiences working with Jupiter. Well, not working with it, but it working in my life. So that's something to also be just mindful of. Now let's take a look at the full moon in Aquarius that's going to occur for you in August. So August the 9th, you're going to have a full moon in Aquarius at 17 degrees. Okay, so the sun will be in Leo and the moon will be in Aquarius. This will impact your 1st house and 7th house. So your life, your identity, your ambitions, goals, and relationships and other people. If you have any planets in Leo Aquarius at 17 degrees or close by, or even in the fixed signs, this will impact you the most, and this will be a time where there's a lot of energy regarding your 1st and 7th house, which can actually be tension sometimes, or it can be very intense, but there's a transformation that's gonna occur, okay? And that transformation can be, like I said, regarding the 1st house and 7th house, your goals, your life, your relationships. And that transformation requires, with full moons, usually requires a letting go, a shedding, a releasing, something coming to an end, something leaving your life, or from another lens, it transforming from one form to another for growth and expansion to occur. So Aquarius, let's highlight the areas of life that are going to be major for you this year. I kicked off this video talking about the 2nd and 8th house. So your self-worth, how worthy you feel about the material abundance and prosperity we have available to us in this earthly realm. How you feel about the material world, how you feel about money, when it comes to what you share with others, especially in a close partnership or an intimate relationship. Even when it comes to, if we get really deep, past life situations with the South Node in Virgo, navigating through some deep-rooted past life energy. And expanding through that when it comes to your spiritual growth. Pluto is in your sign now, and it's not going to move back into Capricorn. So many of you, especially those that have very, very early Aquarius in your chart, will be going through a major life transformation. And Pluto can impact all aspects of life. As soon as it impacts one area of life, it impacts every other area of life, because the transformation with Pluto is so strong, intense, but very spiritually rewarding when you get out of that cycle and when you look back. It can be very permanent. And some of these changes, some of these transformations can be very challenging, because Pluto brings everything right up to the surface, makes you confront your darkest, deepest fears, makes you confront the shadows, makes you confront all that you've been running away from or looking away from. It strips you away from the facade, the superficial, and makes you focus on what matters the most. And this will manifest, of course, uniquely depending on your chart and how Pluto is impacting other areas of your life. The third house is also going to be very energized due to Saturn and Neptune. Fifth house is going to be exciting. A lot of new energy. A lot of growth and change. When it comes to your creativity, when it comes to leisure, when it comes to romance, when it comes to casual dating and relationships. The sixth house is going to be very profound. When it comes to how you approach your health, how you approach your mind, body, soul, and spirit. You may be approaching it from a very nurturing side, because Jupiter will be entering Cancer, and that rules your sixth house. Aquarius rising. Wishing you all the best for 2025. May this year bring you the change that you desire and await. And I'll catch you very soon. Sending you love.